Come closer. The shadows have missed you, and tonight they have a new story to tell. Welcome to Scary Stories After Dark. Rain hits the pavement like 1,000 whispered accusations. Ceryrus didn't even have time to understand the flashing lights before her face was pressed against the hood of a police cruiser, cuffs biting into her wrists. Cold metal, hot breath, a knee in her spine that didn't belong there. Somewhere behind her, Althea screamed her name, but it was swallowed by thunder and the slam of a car door. This isn't happening. That's all Ceryrus could think as her pulse hammered beneath her skin. This isn't happening. We didn't do anything. We were just walking to the car, just leaving the store. Just existing. But the officers didn't care. Wrong place, wrong time, one muttered as he shoved her into the back seat. The phrasing stuck to her like tar. The rain was a smear of silver across the window as the cruiser pulled away. She could still see Althea outside. Small, shaking, surrounded by officers who looked at her like they'd already decided something. Like they'd been waiting. And then the cruiser turned a corner, and her best friend was gone. The ride felt endless. The car smelled like wet vinyl and old mistakes. Ceryrus kept her breathing even, kept her mind from spiraling, but every time she closed her eyes, she saw Althea's face. White with fear, lips trembling with words she never got to say. They didn't read Ceryrus her rights, they didn't ask questions, they didn't explain the charge. Just silence and the rain. Always the rain. The processing station was too bright, too loud. Papers slapped against counters, metal clanged, guards barked instructions. But beneath all of that, beneath the frantic artificial urgency, something felt off. Wrong. Like the building was holding its breath. A guard with sunken eyes stamped her file, barely glancing up. Another woman, broad-shouldered, jaw set hard, handed her a threadbare blanket and told her to sit. Ceryrus shivered. Not from the cold, from the way everyone avoided looking at her directly. Like eye contact was dangerous. Then a voice beside her murmured, You shouldn't be here." She turned. A male guard stood just a few feet away, older, weary, a ragged softness in his expression that didn't match the others. His badge read JAZZMENC. He didn't meet her eyes. He watched the floor as if it might open. His voice dropped so low she barely caught it. "They chose you." Ceryrus's throat tightened. "For what?" Jazz swallowed, jaw trembling once. "If you hear them humming at night..." His breath faltered. "Don't answer." Before she could speak, another guard barked his name, and he jerked away like a snapped wire. Face flattening into something cold, obedient, empty, as if the warmth she'd seen wasn't allowed, as if it wasn't his. Hours blurred. Fingerprints, photographs, papers she didn't understand. Her mind kept replaying Jazz's warning. Humming, answer who, answer what. But nothing made sense. Nothing until the final moment when they escorted her out the back door toward a transport van waiting in the storm. A different officer gripped her arm and shoved her forward. The metal door slid open. Dark coal, reeking of gasoline and something faintly metallic, like old blood drying on iron. Ceryrus froze. Something was already inside, breathing. "Move!" the guard snapped, pushing her. The door slammed shut behind her, and as the van lurched into motion, driving her toward Misery Rock, Ceryrus realized something terrible. The humming had already begun. The van shuddered over cracked asphalt, each pothole rattling through Ceryrus's bones. Rain hammered the metal roof in uneven bursts, like fists pounding from the outside. Or the inside. The air was colder here, colder than any vehicle should be. Her breath fogged the dark, and her cuffs bit deeper into her wrists with every jolt. The breathing in the back still hadn't stopped. Slow, wet, dragged through something viscous. Ceryrus kept her eyes forward, kept them on the sliver of light around the sealed door, as if that narrow band of brightness could anchor her sanity. Jazz's warning echoed in her skull, settling behind her ribs like a stone. The breathing shifted. A low exhale, too long, too heavy. Then something brushed the floor near her boot. A soft, dragging sound like skin sliding over metal. Her pulse spiked. She couldn't see whoever or whatever was back there. The van had no windows, no light. The only illumination came when lightning flashed outside, briefly painting the cabin in stark, colorless glimpses. She caught movement in one of them. Low, hunched, shaking. Definitely not sitting upright like a person. Ceryrus forced herself to inhale through her nose. Sharp, controlled, don't engage, don't look, don't answer. The van swerved sharply left, forcing her shoulder into the cold metal wall. Rain roared louder, wind howling like something alive. The driver shouted over the storm, voice muffled through the reinforced partition. "Misery Rock checkpoint in 5. Brace yourselves back there." Back there. As if there were multiple passengers, as if that breathing thing counted as selves. It shifted again. A wet shuffle, closer this time. Ceryrus pulled her feet inward, her boots squeaking against the floor, trying to make herself smaller. Lightning cracked. A brilliant flash split the sky. For a single second, the van lit up. She saw it. Curled in the far corner, wrists bound like hers, head twitching against collarbone, skin pale and stretched thin, sweat pouring off it in ropes. Something pulsed beneath its shirt. Fast, erratic, like hands pushing outward. Like something inside wanted out. The man, if it was still a man, lifted his head, eyes rolled white, and then the humming began. Low at first, barely a vibration in the air. Ceryrus tried to swallow, but her throat locked. Her tongue felt too thick. Her ears rang. The humming deepened. Not a tune, not a voice, not a sound a human throat should make. It felt summoned. That single low note scraped along the inside of her skull like a dull blade, pressing behind her eyes until tears stung. She squeezed her eyes shut. Don't answer, don't answer, don't answer. The humming rose. A second pitch layered over it. Higher, thinner, trembling, like two voices speaking through one mouth. Ceryrus clenched her fists until her nails bit her palms. "Stop," she whispered. The humming stopped instantly. The man's eyes snapped forward, unfocused and milky. He had heard her. Her blood froze. The van jerked to a halt. Gravel spat beneath the tires. A guard outside banged on the door. "Welcome to Misery Rock." Metal screamed as the door slid open. Light flooded the van. Hands dragged Ceryrus out into the freezing rain, and as she stumbled onto the gravel yard, soaked and shaking, she realized what terrified her most. The man in the van hadn't been humming to her. He had been humming for her. As if it recognized something inside her already beginning to change. The entrance to Misery Rock didn't look like a prison. It looked like something built to contain the prison. Walls rose out of the ground like jagged stone ribs, slick with rain and discolored with age. Razor wire curled above them. Not coiled neatly, but tangled, knotted, almost grown in place like thorned vines. Ceryrus tried not to stare, tried not to let her mind turn the shapes into mouths or claws or hands reaching up from the stone. The guards marched her across the yard, boots crunching gravel, wind slicing through her damp clothes, her wrists throbbing where the cuffs pinched. Every building was windowless, every shadow felt too still. She tried to look for people, other inmates, movement, anything. But the yard was empty except for the guards escorting her. She felt watched anyway, eyes from places she couldn't name. One of the guards, a woman with sharp shoulders and a face carved from exhaustion, leaned just close enough for her breath to mist against Ceryrus's cheek. "Don't fall behind." The tone wasn't threatening. It was warning. Ceryrus kept close. Thunder rolled overhead, shaking the ground. The gates ahead groaned open, metal scraping metal, a sound too long and too drawn out, like something breathing, reluctantly letting her in. Inside, fluorescent lights flickered, not rhythmically, not broken, just wrong. as if they hummed in a pattern that didn't match electricity. Ceryrus blinked the brightness away, her eyes adjusting to the corridor. Gray walls, peeling paint, damp seams where moisture bled through like sweat. 2 guards whispered up ahead, Marrow and Crick, though she didn't know their names yet. She felt their attention before she felt the cold draft of the hallway. Crick's gaze dragged over her like fingers. Marrow's grin showed too many teeth. Neither spoke as she passed. But something in the air tightened. A shift, like pressure dropping before a storm. The corridor curved sharply, leading her toward the intake block. She could hear distant voices. Low, distorted, echoing through vents that shouldn't have carried sound that far. A woman's sob, a rattling breath, a thud that vibrated through the wall, and beneath all of it, a faint resonance, like humming. Too far away to pinpoint, too close to ignore. Jazz's warning jolted through her. If you hear them humming at night, don't answer. A new guard approached from the opposite hall. An older woman with steel hair slicked back tight, her posture stiff and unnatural. Matrone Reeves, though the nameplate only read R. Reeves. Her eyes were wrong, not the color, not the shape, the timing. She blinked too slowly, as if remembering each motion, and when she stopped in front of Ceryrus, her jaw moved a heartbeat after her head did. Strip, shower, uniform, Reeves said, voice gravelly and hollow at once. You'll be assigned to Pod B. Any questions? Ceryrus almost said yes, almost asked where Althea was, almost demanded to know why no one had told her the charges, but something inside her chest tightened, a gut-level instinct. A whisper of, don't. No, she said instead. Reeves nodded once. Late, out of sync, then pointed her toward the intake showers. The lights flickered overhead as Ceryrus stepped inside. Shadows stretched, water dripped from pipes that weren't running, and somewhere deep in the walls, something hummed a single soft note. She held her breath. It stopped. A guard's voice echoed down the corridor.
Welcome to Misery Rock.
The hallway to Pod B smelled like bleach that had given up. Ceryrus followed the guard down the narrow corridor, her new prison uniform clinging damp to her skin from the intake showers. Every step echoed too loudly, the acoustics off. Like the walls were hollow, like something inside them shifted just out of hearing. The humming was gone now, but she felt its absence like a bruise. A steel door clanged open. Pod B. The room wasn't large. 12 bunks stacked 3 high, fluorescent lights flickering overhead, vents exhaling a slow, damp breath. Women sat hunched on their mats, backs curled, eyes sunken, and the silence. The silence was the worst part. Not one person was speaking, not a cough, not a whisper, just the quiet, fraying edges of exhaustion and something heavier. The guard shoved her forward.
Top bunk, next to Rourke.
Shelby Rourke lifted her head slowly from her mat. Ceryrus froze. Shelby wasn't sick. She was becoming something. Her eyes were wide, pupils dilated until they nearly swallowed all color. Sweat beaded along her temples, running down in thin, trembling lines. Beneath her skin, something twitched. Small pulses, inconsistent like nerves firing to a rhythm her body didn't recognize. "Hi," Shelby whispered, voice scraped raw. "You're new." Ceryrus sat stiffly on her bunk. Ceryrus. Shelby swallowed hard, her throat rippling once. "It's worse at night. Don't listen to the vents." Ceryrus felt a cold thread snake through her spine. "Why?" Shelby's gaze flicked upward. Ceryrus followed it. The vent above Shelby's bed was ringed with rust, except some of the rust looked too dark, almost wet, as if something behind the grate had pressed against it recently. A metallic thud sounded somewhere deep in the walls. Shelby flinched. Others in the pod did too. Small, involuntary jerks. Ceryrus's heart pounded. Across the room, Dahlia Cross, tattoos faded and skin gray at the edges, was curled in a fetal position on her mat, rocking so subtly it was almost invisible. Her arms were wrapped tight around her stomach, and every few minutes her breath hitched as if something pinched her from the inside. "Is everyone sick?" Ceryrus asked quietly. Shelby shook her head. Some of her hair slid forward. Ceryrus realized the hair wasn't falling. It was shedding, strands drifting off her scalp in damp clumps. "Not sick," Shelby whispered. "Something's wrong in the food, in the water, in the air," her voice trembled. "I wake up with bruises that move." Ceryrus stared. Shelby pulled up her sleeve. The skin along her forearm was mottled, bruises creeping in branching patterns like veins drawn in ink, and as Ceryrus watched, one of the bruises shifted. It slid a fraction of an inch, as if following something beneath the skin. Ceryrus's stomach twisted. A metallic bang echoed in the hallway. The lights flickered hard enough to strobe the pod. Someone whimpered, someone else whispered a prayer, and then... thump. A heavy slam from inside the vent. Shelby clapped a hand over her mouth, tears welling in her eyes. "Don't answer," she whispered. "Whatever it wants, don't answer." Ceryrus felt her pulse hammer in her throat. She remembered the van, the humming, the thing calling her. Something in this place recognized her. Something waited. A guard's voice suddenly boomed from the hallway.
Injection rounds in 1 hour.
The pod fell into a suffocating stillness. All the women stared at the floor. No one moved. No one breathed. And for the first time, Ceryrus understood why everyone whispered about the injections. Don't let them inject you. The yard of Misery Rock wasn't a yard. It was a pit carved into concrete. 2 high fences dividing inmates from one another, from guards, from whatever lay beyond the floodlights humming overhead. Cold wind knifed across Ceryrus's face as she stepped outside. A whistle blew.
Pod B, line up.
The other women moved like shadows. Slow, resigned, trembling. None spoke. None looked at the sky. Ceryrus followed, hugging her arms to her chest, eyes scanning the rows across the razor-wrapped fences. Her heartbeat stuttered. Althea. Her best friend stood on the opposite side of the visitation divide. Thin, shaking, arms wrapped around herself like she was holding her own ribs in place. Her uniform hung loose, collarbones sharp enough to cut the air. She looked wrong, not monstrous, not sick. Just drained, like something had been siphoning her from the inside. "Althea." Ceryrus tried to move forward, but the guard beside her snapped,
No talking until the whistle.
Ceryrus swallowed the panic clawing up her throat. Althea lifted her head slowly. Their eyes met, and in that instant, the world narrowed to a single throb of dread. Althea's pupils were blown wide, swallowing the brown. Her lips trembled around words she couldn't push out. Her hands shook violently, fingers twitching like she was cold deep beneath the bone. The whistle shrieked. The yard erupted with murmurs, desperate greetings, terrified whispers. Ceryrus rushed to the fence. "Althea, what happened to you?" Althea's breath hitched. Her body swayed like she might collapse. "They're doing something to us," she whispered. Her voice was shredded, barely a breath. "In the injections, in the food, don't let them do it to you." Ceryrus gripped the chain link so hard it bit into her palms. "I won't, I promise, but you, Althea, you look." Althea's eyes darted to the guard tower. "Don't say my name," she hissed. "Not here." Ceryrus froze, a chill wrapped around her spine. The wind shifted. A deep, metallic groan rolled through the yard as if the walls were settling or listening. Althea leaned closer. Ceryrus saw it. The faintest ripple beneath Althea's jaw, a tremor that didn't match her breathing, a twitch that looked foreign. Althea's eyes filled with terror. "They're inside the vents, inside the walls. Her body seized. A violent jerk snapped through her shoulders. She bit down on a scream. "Althea!" Ceryrus reached through the chain link. Althea clasped her shaking hands over her mouth, tears spilling down her cheeks. Muscles along her neck fluttered, twitching in waves that traveled up toward her skull. "No, no, no," she whispered, rocking. "Not now, not now." A guard barked.
Hands off the fence. Step back from the line.
But Ceryrus couldn't move. Her entire world was collapsing to the way Althea's skin rippled like something underneath was pushing outward. Althea forced out one last sentence through clenched teeth. "Ceryrus, don't answer them." The whistle blew again. Sharp, jarring. Guards surged forward, grabbing inmates, shoving them back toward the doors. Ceryrus was pulled away, heels dragging across concrete. Across the yard, 2 guards seized Althea under her arms. One of them hissed something in her ear. Something that made her gasp in horror and go limp. As they dragged her away, her head lolled back. Her eyes found Ceryrus one last time. Huge, dark, pleading. Then she was swallowed by the doors, her scream muffled by the prison walls. The yard emptied. The wind died. And somewhere, deep in the vents, a single note hummed. Ceryrus didn't remember walking back into the prison. Her legs moved, but her mind stayed in the yard. At the fence where Althea was dragged away, trembling like something else was inside her skin. The hallway lights buzzed overhead, flickering in that way that wasn't random, a rhythm, a pulse. Shelby, her cellmate, stumbled beside her, clutching her ribs as though holding something in place. "Don't look at the guards," she whispered. "Just don't." Ceryrus didn't intend to, but something cold slithered through the air, a presence pressing at her spine, forcing her gaze upward. The guard at the end of the hallway stood perfectly still. Too still. Her posture was stiff, straight, unnatural. Like bones didn't matter. Her face was angled toward the inmates, but her eyes didn't blink, didn't move, didn't breathe. A second guard approached her from behind, heavy boots pounding, and spoke low.
"You're peeling again."
Ceryrus's blood iced. Peeling? The still guard turned her head, slowly, painfully slowly, until her neck made a soft clicking sound, like cartilage resisting. Ceryrus's stomach lurched. A ragged strip of skin dangled from the guard's temple, blackened at the edges. Underneath, something slick, something wet. Something that pulsed with its own heartbeat. Ceryrus froze. Shelby grabbed her wrist and pulled hard. "Don't stare," Shelby hissed. "They hate when you stare." But Ceryrus couldn't move, couldn't breathe. The peeling guard reached up with gloved fingers and pressed the hanging strip back into place. It didn't stick. It slid down an inch further, revealing more of the glistening shape beneath. Muscle that wasn't arranged like human muscle, fibers that layered wrong, tendons braided like vines. The second guard snarled.
"Cover it before the warden sees."
The peeling guard turned away, the loose skin swaying like wet cloth. She didn't respond. She didn't even seem to hear. Ceryrus's pulse pounded in her ears. The guards weren't turning into monsters. They already were. "Move," someone barked behind her. Ceryrus stumbled forward again, swallowed by the tide of inmates funneling into the pods. Shelby limped fast, whispering under her breath, "I told you, didn't I? Didn't I? They're not right. They're not anything." Inside the pod, the lights dimmed to their night glow. A low hum rattled through the vents. Not air, not machines. Something warmer, something alive. Shelby collapsed onto her bunk and curled around herself, trembling violently. Her skin twitched along her spine, a ripple that traveled beneath her jumpsuit like a worm burrowing just under the surface. Ceryrus backed away, heart slamming against her ribs. "Shelby, what did they do to you?" she whispered. Shelby squeezed her eyes shut, jaw clenched in agony. "It's not what they did," she gasped. Another ripple tore through her body. Her fingernails scraped the mattress. She bit down on her lip hard enough to bleed. "It's what they put in us." A scream echoed somewhere down the hall, sharp, inhuman, metallic. The pod lights flickered. Shelby's breath hitched, and then her back arched violently, a thin crack splitting down her shoulder where skin shouldn't split. Ceryrus lunged forward, grabbing her hand. "Shelby, look at me, stay with me." Shelby's eyes snapped open. For a second, just one, Ceryrus saw something inside them move. Not a reflection, not a pupil shift. A shadow sliding behind the iris. Shelby shuddered, panting, sweat beading at her hairline. "They're replacing us," she whispered hoarsely, one by one. Ceryrus's breath stilled. Somewhere deep in the vents, something scraped closer. Hungry, listening. and the peeling guard's voice drifted faintly down the corridor, a wet rasp that didn't sound like language anymore. Ceryrus woke to the sound of someone sobbing. At first, she thought it was Shelby, but Shelby was silent beside her. Curled in a tight, trembling shape, breath shallow, eyes fixed on the vent above her bunk as if waiting for it to breathe back. The sobbing came from deeper in the pod. Low, sharp, panicked. Ceryrus sat up slowly. Her bones ached, not sore. Pressured, as if something was pushing outward, testing the edges of her ribs. She pressed a hand to her sternum. Her heartbeat felt wrong. 2 quick beats, a pause, a strange echo afterward, like a second pulse chasing the first. She swallowed, her throat burned. The humming from the vents began again, soft, almost curious. But this time, Ceryrus didn't freeze the way she had before. She felt a pull, a tiny urge deep in her chest, like answering would bring relief. She clamped her hand over her mouth. "No," she whispered through her fingers. "No, no." Shelby's voice rasped from below. "They're trying to get in." Ceryrus leaned over the edge of the bunk. Shelby stared at her. Her pupils huge, her face soaked with sweat. "That hum," Shelby whispered. "Once you start hearing it in your bones, it's already too late." Ceryrus's chest tightened again, a sharp, sudden pinch beneath her ribs. She gasped. Shelby flinched like she'd been struck. "It's starting, isn't it?" Ceryrus didn't answer. She couldn't, because something was happening under her skin. A twitch, a ripple, a tiny flutter beneath her collarbone, like an insect trapped behind glass. She pressed her hand to the spot. It twitched again. Her stomach dropped. She swung her legs over the bunk, breathing shallow, trying to steady herself. The pod felt smaller than it had last night, like the walls were bowing inward, like the vents were leaning closer to listen. Dahlia Cross lay on her mat across the room, curled tight, nails digging into the concrete. She wasn't crying anymore. Her chest rose in a strange, uneven pattern. Too fast, then too slow. Her skin shone with a faint sheen like condensation on glass. And every now and then, her shoulder jerked violently, like something underneath was kicking. Ceryrus tore her gaze away. She didn't want to see any more, but she felt it. That same motion, beneath her skin. A small sliding pulse traveling from her ribs toward her shoulder. She stumbled to her feet. Shelby sat up abruptly. "You need to fight it," she whispered, "while you still can." Ceryrus's breath shook. "How?" Shelby looked at her with hollow, terrified eyes. "I don't know." A clang echoed from the hallway. The pod door jolted. A guard shouted orders.
"Injection rounds. Line up."
The women froze, every single one. Some shook their heads. Some whispered prayers. Some backed against their bunks like animals bracing for slaughter. Shelby's hand shot out, gripping Ceryrus's wrist. Her fingers were ice cold. "Don't go," she gasped. "It accelerates it. Whatever's inside you, it'll wake up." Ceryrus swallowed hard. Her ribs fluttered again. Stronger this time, like something turning over in its sleep. The guard bellowed from the hall. Shelby shook her head violently. "Please, please, don't let them." The vent above them rattled. A soft, eager hum vibrated through the metal, brushing against Ceryrus's spine. Her skin prickled. Her body wanted to answer. She stepped back, knees shaking. For the first time since arriving, she understood. She wasn't just in danger. She was changing. Something inside her was waking up. And it wasn't human. The pod door clanged open with a violent metallic scream.
Line up.
A guard barked, voice jagged. But no one moved. The women in Pod B stood frozen, backs against beds, eyes wide, breaths trembling like thin glass about to crack. Every one of them knew what the injections did. Every one of them had seen the bruises, felt something shifting, heard the humming. No one stepped forward. The guard at the threshold, Crick, tilted his head slowly, neck stretching farther than a human spine should allow, his jaw clenched, muscles twitching beneath the skin like worms writhing underneath fabric.
I said line up.
He repeated, voice lower this time, too low. Ceryrus pressed a hand to her ribs. The flutter beneath her skin sharpened, urgent, awake. Shelby grabbed her arm, shaking. Don't go, don't let him touch you. Crick's attention snapped toward them. He inhaled. The skin along his throat bulged. Something underneath pushed outward, rolling beneath the surface like a fist dragging through wet sand. Ceryrus's limbs pricked with cold panic. Behind Crick, another guard approached. Marrow, his steps were uneven, his posture twisted. And Ceryrus saw it. His eyes weren't aligned correctly. One stared forward, the other drifted toward the ceiling, tracking movement that wasn't there.
Pod B is resisting.
Crick growled. Marrow smiled. It wasn't a human expression, his lips stretched too wide, his teeth too flat, his jaw too loose. Ceryrus stumbled backward, breath caught between terror and nausea. A woman from the far bunk. Ariam broke.
No! No!
She screamed, her voice cracking as she charged toward the back of the pod. Crick lunged, his hand shot out, longer than it should have been, fingers stretching like tendons weren't fully attached. Ariam's scream turned into a gurgled choke as he grabbed her by the jaw, lifting her off the ground with unnatural ease. Her legs kicked wildly. Dahlia covered her face, sobbing. Shelby curled into herself, whispering, "Don't look, don't look, don't look." Ceryrus stared in frozen horror. The skin on Crick's knuckles peeled away as he tightened his grip. Something beneath, slick and pale, pushed outward, splitting the seam of his uniform. Ariam's feet stopped kicking. A moment later, Crick tossed her limp body aside like discarded laundry. Silence, then thud. The vent above Shelby slammed from the inside. A low hum leaked through the metal, hungry, excited. Marrow's head snapped toward it, nose flaring like he could smell something. His smile widened, skin pulling unnaturally tight around his cheeks.
They're waking up.
He rasped. Shelby whimpered. Another thud. Harder, the grate bent. Marrow slammed his fist against it, snarling.
Not yet.
The hum deepened, vibrating through the walls, through Ceryrus's bones. Her ribcage burned. Not pain. Recognition. Crick reached for another inmate. Women screamed. Bunks toppled. The pod descended into frantic chaos. And then, the building itself shuddered. A booming crack echoed through the hallway, followed by distant panicked shouts. Something metallic tore loose. Alarms blared, a distorted, warbling siren that cut in and out like a dying machine. Lights flickered wildly. Crick froze. Marrow cocked his head. The hum in the vents grew louder. Something was coming. No. Something was breaking out. Dahlia screamed. Shelby covered her ears. Ceryrus staggered as the flutter beneath her ribs grew violent, twisting upward toward her collarbone like it wanted out. Another alarm blared. A deeper, older siren, one the inmates had never heard before. Crick stiffened.
They breached containment.
Marrow snarled, his jaw unhinged halfway, skin splitting along his cheek. Ceryrus's blood went cold. "What's coming?" she whispered. Marrow turned toward her, his voice layered, two tones grinding together.
Us.
The vent above Shelby erupted, and hell spilled through the ceiling. The pod was collapsing behind her, screaming, metal tearing, vents bursting open like wounds. But Ceryrus didn't look back. Shelby had shoved her toward the exit with a choked whisper. "Find her before they do." And Ceryrus ran. Down the hallway, bare feet slapping wet concrete, demons screaming through metal vents overhead like wolves scraping their teeth along pipes. The emergency lights flickered in long red pulses, painting everything in violent bursts, blood-colored, frantic, blinding. She shoved through a stairwell door, slipped, caught herself on a railing sticky with something warm. Alarms blared out of sync. A warbling mechanical voice croaked,
"Breach, Block C. Breach, Block C."
before glitching into static. Ceryrus choked on a sob as she climbed. "Althea, please still be alive." On the second floor, she reached the yard-level corridor, the place where they'd been separated, which meant the women's isolation cells were close. Something crashed in a room nearby, something heavy. Ceryrus pressed herself to the wall, heart jackhammering. The flutter under her skin pulsed again, sharp, insistent, like it recognized the sound. She whispered through clenched teeth, "Not now, not now." The hallway ahead stretched into darkness, and at the far end, a silhouette. Small, frailer than she remembered, shoulders shaking. "Althea?" The figure's head jerked up, too fast, too light, like bones didn't matter. Ceryrus stepped forward, breath trembling. "Althea, it's me." Lightning from a shattered skylight above flashed white, revealing the truth. Althea, standing barefoot on cold concrete, hospital bracelet hanging from her wrist. Her skin was pale and damp, hair plastered against her temples, her arms wrapped around herself like she was containing something inside. Her eyes were huge, and behind the brown irises, a faint ripple of shadow. "Ciri?" The word escaped like steam from a cracked valve. Ceryrus broke. She rushed toward her, hands out, tears already blurring her vision. "Stop!" Althea's voice shattered through the corridor, raw and terrified. Ceryrus froze mid-step. Althea shook her head violently, backing up until she hit the wall. Her whole body trembled, not from cold, not from fear, but from something crawling just under her skin. "You can't touch me," Althea whispered. "Not when it's this close." Ceryrus's throat tightened. "Althea, what did they do to you?" Althea pressed her palm to her sternum, panting. Something inside her chest pushed outward, a bulge brief but horrifying, before sliding back. Her voice broke. "It's waking up." Ceryrus stepped forward anyway. "I don't care. I'm not leaving you." Althea squeezed her eyes shut. Tears streaked down her face. "It's not just in the guards, Ciri." Her breathing hitched. "It's us. They wanted us. All of us." A metallic groan echoed up the hall. The vents rattled. Ceryrus reached out her hand. "Come with me, please." Althea hesitated, trembling so violently it looked like her bones might shatter, then slowly extended her fingers until their hands hovered inches apart. A soft hum whispered from the vent above them. Low, inviting, hungry. The shadow behind Althea's eyes pulsed. "Ceryrus," Althea whispered. "It knows you." Ceryrus jerked her hand back as cold dread punched into her stomach. "What?" Althea stared at her, terrified. "It's been calling for you." The vent above them bent inward with a metallic shriek. Ceryrus grabbed Althea's arm. "Consequences be damned. Run." The hallway exploded into motion behind them, and the thing in the vent finally broke through. The creature hit the floor behind them with a wet, bone-cracking thud. Ceryrus didn't look back. She dragged Althea down the hallway, both of them stumbling, slipping on rain dripping from broken vents overhead. The alarms howled above them, doors slammed open and shut in the distance, prisoners running, guards shrieking in voices that didn't sound like voices anymore. The whole prison felt alive, breathing, contracting. Ceryrus's shoulder burned where Althea clutched her arm. Every few steps, Althea stumbled as another ripple tore beneath her skin. "Keep going," Ceryrus whispered. "We're almost there. We're almost—" A vent ahead split open like a jaw. Ceryrus yanked Althea sideways into a storage corridor. They slammed into metal shelving and collapsed onto the floor. The door creaked shut behind them. Darkness swallowed them whole. Only their breaths filled the silence, fast, ragged, terrified. For a moment, Ceryrus thought they were safe. Then she heard it. Her heartbeat. And something else. A second rhythm, a slower, deeper pulse. Not coming from Althea, coming from inside her. Her hand flew to her chest. The skin beneath her palm twitched. A small bulge rose beneath her collarbone, then slid like something searching for an exit. "No," Ceryrus whispered. "Not me. Please, not me." Althea grabbed her wrist. "Ceryrus, look at me." Ceryrus shook her head, panic clawing up her throat. "It's inside. I feel it moving." "I know," Althea said, her voice breaking. "And you have to listen." Something boomed outside the door, a creature skittering along the wall, humming low like a throat full of broken chords. Dust rained from the ceiling. The entire prison vibrated as more vents cracked open. "Ceryrus," Althea said again, gripping her face with trembling hands. "They didn't choose us by accident." The world seemed to tilt. "What?" Ceryrus breathed. Althea swallowed, tears streaking her graying cheeks. "When we were arrested, It wasn't random. They needed hosts. Ceryrus felt her lungs freeze mid-breath. Althea continued, her voice cracking like old stone. The humming, it only answers its own. The creatures inside the guards, inside the inmates, they're not looking for everyone. Her eyes shuddered with pain as she forced the truth out. They're looking for you. Ceryrus's stomach turned to ice. The second heartbeat inside her chest pulsed harder, louder, eager. I'm not, she gasped. I'm not one of them. The hum outside the door shifted. It matched her heartbeat. Althea flinched. Ceryrus, it recognized you from the start. You were already marked. The pressure in Ceryrus's chest grew unbearable. Tears blurred her vision. No, I won't be. You won't, Althea whispered fiercely. Not if you fight it. The second heartbeat pounded again, a low, resonant thrum that vibrated through the metal shelves, and the creature outside hummed back. They were calling to each other. Althea's hands clutched hers tighter. You're stronger than me, stronger than Shelby, stronger than anyone in those pods. That's why it wants you. The door behind them bent inward with a metallic screech. Ceryrus felt something inside her ribs push upward, like a hand pressing against her lungs. Her vision darkened at the edges. Fight it, Althea begged. Please, fight for us. Ceryrus pressed her forehead to Althea's, sobbing as her chest rippled again. I'm trying. The door buckled again, then snapped free. A creature crawled through the opening, skeletal limbs folding unnaturally, its skin half gone, its mouth bending open into a shape no mouth should make. It stopped. It tilted its head. And it bowed. Althea's breath caught. It's acknowledging you. Ceryrus shook her head violently. No. The creature hummed, a deep, resonant greeting. Her chest answered. Ceryrus screamed. The creature stepped back, waiting. Althea wrapped her arms around Ceryrus, holding her as the hum vibrated through the metal, through the floor, through her bones. You're not theirs, Althea whispered fiercely into her hair. You're still you, stay you. The creature hummed again, louder, expectant. Ceryrus's body shook with the force of resisting the pull, the call, the claim. Her voice cracked into the darkness. I am not yours. The hum stuttered, the heartbeat inside her chest spasmed, angry. And then, silence. The creature recoiled, confused, wounded, before retreating back into the corridor, vanishing into the shadows with a hiss that sounded almost like disappointment. Ceryrus collapsed into Althea's arms, shaking violently. But she was still herself. For now. And as the alarms died and distant screams faded, Ceryrus understood the true horror. The prison wasn't finished with them. The thing inside her wasn't finished either. And Misery Rock was only the beginning.